Welcome back to MCOC, Al Bundy Rules. I got you a nice little tutorial on how to use Titiana now. So before I get into all the nitty gritty good stuff on showing you everything you need to know, including tips and tricks, here's a quick little highlight to show you a little bit of what can do with her. But as we see a little bit of all that great stuff, let's get started. First, let's talk about something that's always active, which is that she is immune to buffs. This could be extremely helpful on nodes that punish buffs or champs that punish buffs. So that in itself is very good. There's less than a handful of champs that have that ability and gets physical resistance. Then there's Haymaker. This is where all of her goody stuff comes from. And timing this. You can activate it by performing a dash, your second medium attack, meaning close out your combo with the medium or charging a heavy. This gives you unblockable, unstoppable, and indestructible passive for 4 seconds, a 30-second cooldown. However, while these effects are active, each hit deals burst damage, physical damage for each debuff on the opponent. So the more debuffs you get, the more physical damage you can get. Then there's adding injury to insult. I'm going to show this more about on the debuffs. I'm going to talk about a lot of getting these debuffs up. The reason why is because of this. Whenever they're inflicted with the debuff, she gains the Fury passive, increase in attack rating by, it changes, for 15 seconds, and Haymaker's cooldown is reduced by 1 second. So the more of those buffs you got of the Furies, the quicker the Haymaker cooldown is, and the more attack rating you get up. So huge to get these debuffs going. All of her debuffs can be inflicted through block. That's huge too. An easy way to really start stacking up your debuffs is by light attacks. You inflict a 5% suppression debuff for 2 seconds, and they pause during her special attacks. So medium, light is a good way just to keep stacking these up. Again, that in itself isn't going to do a whole lot, but it's going to help you get those Furies up, which has a direct effect on many other things, as we said. Then we got the heavy attacks. She's one of the few science champs who has stagger ability. First hit inflicts stagger debuff for 8 seconds, which is going to nullify the defender's next buff. Great on Hyperion, great on Juggernaut, as we're seeing right here. To deal with some of these buff heavy champs, it just eliminates it. The first hit on the heavy, while the Haymaker's effects are active, the first hit inflicts an extra stack of her active personal debuffs. So landing it while Haymaker's effects are active can be beneficial. If this attack is canceled into a special attack, I'll talk about that in the tips. The extra debuffs are inflicted on the final hit of the special instead, which increases the duration. Here's your special one. First hit inflicts a non-stacking deliberate debuff. Again, more debuffs gives more Fury buffs, extending duration of any new debuffs by 50% for 30 seconds. I will show you in the tips how you can use this to increase other debuffs, especially on things like the special 3. Each hit inflicts a weakness debuff, reducing attack rating. Again, the big part is getting more debuffs for the extra Haymaker benefits, the extra Furies. Here's special 2. I'll show you some tips on best maximizing this in the appropriate section. First hit inflicts a non-stacking 20% physical vulnerability debuff for 20 seconds. It's refreshed whenever the opponent suffers 4 or more suppression debuffs. Mainly after you do an S2, just do medium, light combos, and you can keep this up indefinitely. Then there's special 3. This one, you want to see all kinds of crazy debuff action. Do this S3. Immediately activate Haymakers with a 50% duration, ignoring their cooldown. So even you could do a Haymaker, and then once it's done, you could do an S3 and get another Haymaker. It ignores the cooldown. It gets 50% duration. If you do an S3 after an S1, it extends the debuffs as well. And you get all those debuffs you saw. There are all kinds of stuff, which gives you more Furies. Here on Grudge Match, her Awakening ability. This is whenever she inflicts stackable personal debuff, she has a 10% chance, depending on the SIG, to inflict it twice. It can increase this quicker. It also gives you potency increase when fighting large and extra large champs. So you see that. Here you see some synergies. Some of these I'm using in parts of the video. So if you see something out of her abilities, it's probably because of one of these synergies you're seeing. She has some pretty cool synergies along the way that can do a variety of things as we're kind of taking a look through on here. She-Hulk one is definitely a good one. The Do You Even Lift can add up if you use multiple on there. Horrible Boss is that ability accuracy there. Punk's Panache for the special attacks don't generate the power on the opponent. And then you see some other ones there as well. Let's talk about the tips for effective use. Tip 1, you want to get as many debuffs as possible that increases your Fury. So medium, light combo stacks debuffs quick, and which turns the Furies quick. So you stick with that. That can help you keep getting those Furies as we see each debuff. The debuffs only last for 2 seconds, but those Furies last for 15. Tip 2. S3 stacks debuffs Furies quickly. Use the S1 to extend the debuffs from S3, something I mentioned. So another way to build up these Furies is using that S3. You want to make it last a little bit longer, do an S1, then lead it up to an S3. It is a possible rotation you can use sometimes as well. I'll also talk about other rotation in a moment. Tip number 3, use that stagger from heavy to control troublesome defender buffs. Hyperion can be a pain with its power gain. If I keep getting my heavies in there, boom. Remember, if I can't get a window, when it's Haymaker ability, just dash in and do a heavy to get that stagger and be good to go. If you get intercepted, no biggie when you have that going on. And then you will have Tip 4, lots of rotations. A good rotation I like starts with, you get that Haymaker going on. You can do a combo first, then get the Haymaker, get a heavy going on, work your way up with medium, light, building up those debuffs to get Furies as you work your way up to an S2. Once you get that S2, go and activate the Haymaker. You can dash in or do a heavy to activate the Haymaker. And then you're going to heavy charge. So I got a Haymaker, an extra debuff. I was charging the heavy really quick as I launched the S2 to cancel that out as we get some extra changes based on the ability we already went into. Now you just keep doing medium, light combos, medium with 4 lights. This will keep the debuffs being reset. So on the S2, on those, it resets with 4 of the light combos. So every time you're going to keep a look up there, it keeps resetting every time I finish my 4th light. Now I'm working my way up to launching an S3. As I got my S3, I charge the defender and then spam heavy. So I charge that, activated the Haymaker, which any cooldown is set. And in this case, I'm able to get 3 heavies off. And you see all that great damage. You see all those staggered. You see all those debuffs. And it's all kinds of goodies. That also got me a lot of Furies. So I'm doing some nice damage here. And now I'm going to work my way back up to an S2 as I'm smacking with my medium, light combos. And launch this and do all kinds of good damage. I'm just going to repeat as needed. So I'm hoping this video will help you. Don't forget to click that like and the subscribe button. You're going to see the little icon up in the top left popping up. Don't forget to click that and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Mcoc, Al Bundy Rules.